Okay, guys, welcome to the Girl Gang podcast. My name is Amanda Smith. You know me. If you've been listening for a while, today I have my friend and colleague on, Mane Bailey. We have so much to talk about. She is an agency owner. She's an immigrant. She's a badass bitch. She's a mom. And always wheeling and dealing. We were joking before we started recording, everyone's busy, right? But we're always communicating. We've worked together on projects. We're currently working on projects together, and we're just always busy. Like something's either on fire or like something's going on. But so excited to have you. Welcome to the Girl Gang podcast.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm super excited to meet you today. And by the way, most of the emails that you're getting are not even from me. That's from
I know. It's from Whitney or someone. So excited to jump in. So, in the new format of this podcast, I'm not going to spend a ton of time on where were you born and blah, blah, blah. But I think I would be remiss if we did not address like your upbringing and then immigrating, coming to America. Just fuck me. Never mind. Anyway, so tell us a little bit of your background and coming, to the States several years ago.
So, I'm originally from Armenia. That's what I've been born, raised, lived my whole life, had my first 2 degrees and whatnot. That's where I went to my first corporate job and quit it in a year, the year after. And that was the last time that I have been to any 9 to 5. And that was, well, I lied. I did go for 8 months here in San Diego, like in the beginning, but that was it.
Yeah.
But the way that it worked for me is that I have been going from one thing to another until I found what worked for me. My first education is in public administration, then organizational psychology. I was doing HR consulting. And then I kind of took the dream of my life. I started singing, and I have been performing with a live band for like 10 years. I got to The Voice in my country. I got to the semifinals there. I had the blast of my life. All meanwhile, I was still doing consulting on the side, but it has never been like in a front line. I've lived in 5 countries, and then 5 years ago, I made the decision to marry the best man that I have ever met in my entire life. And because he was in the military and he was in the US, I had to be where he was.
Is he from the US?
Yes, he
is.
So
you've been here for 5-6 years.
5 will
years.
be in 3 months.
This
June, this July or something.
Yeah. Okay. And I forget about the whole music background. And I don't know if you know this about me. That's my background.
No way.
So I have a degree in music education. That's what I taught when I was a teacher, was music.
My God.
Mm-hmm. And so my principal when studying was voice, and then secondary was like piano and guitar. I picked up a guitar when I was 10, did the whole like church worship leadership thing, wrote songs as a angsty teen, like the whole thing. And it's still a huge part of who I am, but not a lot of people know that. And I think I'm just going to start I don't know, singing on TikTok. I don't know.
About us, though.
Isn't that crazy? I know.
They know everything nowadays. Like, how can I not know that one?
I mean, I would, especially like high school and college, I played so many like coffee shop shows of like my own original music or like, cover songs. And like no one knows that.
Wow.
Isn't that wild? Anyway.
Tell it to the world.
Tell you too.
I've been on stage for a very long time, but I have been singing cover music for the whole period of time. It was supposed to be last year, but the world was in a disarray, so it really didn't happen. But I'm hoping that next year I'm going to have my first album presented, which is going to be just for me.
That's so awesome.
Dedicated to my daughter. Because when I gave birth, I was like, I'm gonna sing again.
I'm gonna find myself. That's so exciting and so fun. And I think we were talking about this before we started recording, but we forget, especially when you start a business, like you're doing what you have to do to keep this thing going and growing and afloat. And then you forget a lot of things that like, wait, why am I doing this? Or what do I like to do? Like when people ask me like, what are your hobbies? I was like, uh,
Did I
I
have a
don't,
hobby before?
I don't think I used to have a hobby for sure. And it's just
I
so
didn't.
funny. Really. Yeah.
Music and business have been the two major parts of my life, and
Yeah.
it's never been different. This
Yeah.
is my safe space. This is the
Yeah.
place where I come when I'm in a bad mood, when I have a disagreement with my husband. This is where I come. Where I'm in a bad mood because the world is collapsing. This is where I come and find myself. When I'm in a great mood and my daughter just started walking, my
Ah,
first thought is, oh my God, how does that like translate to the
a
business?
song. Yeah. Or
when
yeah.
when I'm in my phone, it's busy. That's what fuels me up. In a 5 minutes or so, you're gonna feel like how my tone of my voice starting to be very angry and very loud. Just because I get super excited every
No.
time I talk about business. At some point, I'm like, I'm an Armenian. Like I wear very like expressive.
Expressive. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, you can see my hands moving. You can see my
Yeah.
facial expressions happening. It's just like, and my voice tone is going to change.
I
But
love
I
it.
think what we're missing sometimes, to your point, is first that we talk about like quit your 9 to 5, go do your thing. This is great. It's not for everybody.
No.
Business is not for everybody. If you don't like the journey, if you don't enjoy building, failing,
The
having problems,
process.
leaving the, if that's not what you're enjoying, this is not for you. Go, and this is not for my mom, this is not for my grandfather. They want stability. The hardships and the challenges that the entrepreneurship journey brings to the table is not discussed as much right now, because we're all like glorifying this vision of entrepreneurship online where you can make 5 figures a month and you're happy and like you're living your best life in Dominican. But at the same time, it's true, that's what we see every day. And we have this vision like, oh my God, this is it. But when I
It's
was here and
sexy.
I already had my business in the beginning, when I just moved, I already had the business, but it was making enough, but it wasn't making good. So
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going back to work. So I went to like a job that pays like 15, $16 an hour or whatnot. I would work from 7 to 4 over there, and then I would go back home and I would start working on my business until my business made $5,000 to $6,000 for 4 or 5 months in a row,
Yep.
when I knew for sure that even if this goes down, it comes up, I will be fine. I did not quit.
Yep.
And this is coming from a person like me that has never had an experience with the 9 to 5.
Not really.
I
Yeah.
have I have had maybe like a year or two of work in 9 to 5
Yeah.
in general. And that was the worst, miserable, like terrible time.
Yeah.
But I went to that job with the idea of like, this is going to help me build this.
Yeah. It's a
So
means to
sometimes
an
I think
end.
we
And
focus on the final goal and we forget to un- talk about the sacrifices that we need to make to get there. The time that you sacrifice from your family, the time that you forgetting your hobby, like you forget your hobbies, you forget this, you forget that, you don't talk to your family as often. You might not have a lot of time to go to the gym and take care of yourself or whatnot. It's important to prioritize that. But at the same time, when you're in a building mode, none of that makes sense. None of that is important. You know what I mean? Yes.
so here's where like I let's park it right here for a second because I have a lot of thoughts on this and a lot of feelings on this. You and I both love to work. We love it.
You
And I
do.
think that's what if you guys are watching this on YouTube or whatever, you just saw the face she made. She's like, I do. um, but here's where maybe I have some different opinions. So I kind of want to get into this. I had a season, and I've talked about this before. For me, it was 2019, where I was teaching full time, 7 to 4, same schedule you were kind of talking about. And then I was going home, working my job, or I would go straight to like a co-working space or straight to a coffee shop where I could like focus. And, my husband wasn't there, or my dog and I wasn't going to like want to just sit and watch TV with them or something. And I did neglect my physical health my mental health, um, was not checking in on friends, was not really intentional with friendships. I think I definitely let family things kind of go by the wayside. And that was 2019 was an exponential growth year for me. But I regret letting some of those things go because I've found moving forward, you can build and grow and still not obliterate your relationships or put yourself, your mental health and your physical health in the toilet. Like, I'm paying for it now in various ways. And I've finally found a balance is not the right word because it doesn't exist, but I finally found a combination of therapy and here's how I can incorporate exercise. Here's where I know I'm going to invest in my relationships and friendships. And so that's just kind of where I've found myself. I personally don't like to buy into the idea of like there or several months ago there was this TikTok sound that was like um something about this girl was like uh I don't have time for friends. I'm making money. I don't have time for my family. I'm making money. I'm building a business. And that actually kind of triggers me. I don't think that that's like, aren't you building a business and a life so that you can spend more time with your family? So that you can build a lifestyle? So I want to hear your thoughts.
I think everybody should be building the business that serves their vision of a lifestyle that they want to
Yeah.
have. With this being said, I have made a conscious decision to give myself 5 to 7 years of putting every single effort and minute and everything into business
Yeah.
to build something that is going to sustain me moving forward.
Long term.
So I am not thinking of this like this is going to be my lifestyle forever. This is not. I
I
will
love
still be
this.
working. I will never stop working. I will be still, I will be very nosy about my team members' work, and I will still be like pushing everybody, and I will still be here. But what I realized is that every person needs to understand what they can actually contribute to the business that they are building. I have a client that I adore all my clients, and I love her the most, but
Mhm.
uh, she has she prioritizes her family um, over business any day of the week, any time. And that's okay. But you cannot expect, realistically, you cannot expect the same outcome that someone like me who's putting things on the back burner to focus on the business and putting more time, more effort, more energy, more focus into business, you can't expect to have, and more money into the business, by the way, too.
Yeah, let's talk
You
about that.
can't be expecting to make the same um, impact or build the same type of business or have the same kind of revenue when your time and effort is not focused on your business and it's prioritizing. And that's not bad. That's there is no good and bad way of doing. There's no one size fits all. This is business. Like everybody does their own thing,
Yeah.
especially as like businesses of one.
Yeah.
When you're a service provider, it's an easy thing. Like you just go with like, okay, this is the lifestyle that I want to do and this is what I'm willing to compromise for it. I realized she does not want to compromise the time that she can spend with her husband to be able to focus on her business, and that's good. That's fine. You have 10 hours. Let's build a business that will revolve around those 10 hours, and we can maximize those 10 hours
Yeah.
as much as we can.
Yeah.
But don't compare yourself to me.
Yes.
Don't
Right.
compare
You have
yourself
different
to
goals.
your other single friends that are making 6 figures a year because they are doing TikToks and reels, and they have a lot of things that they work. They have more time that they can spend working with their clients than you do. So I I think the we need to understand that what we pour into it is what's going to come out. I am building I think I did mention this before, but like I don't have one business. I have four of them right now, and there are going to be at least two more streams of income that are going to be built. And then the way it's growing right now, I need 4 more years. I need 4 more years of me focusing on this. From that point on, then I'm going to leave the life. Like then I don't have to come to be on every single meeting. But right now, if I'm trying to build something sustainable, I need to put the business plan behind it, the business plan that is not just for 3 months, that is not just for your next 90 days or your next quarter or your next year, the business plan that is revolving around the huge vision that you have for your brand and for your business, if that's where you go. I have that idea of what I want, and I have planned it ahead 5 years. So I know which year I'm going to be focusing on what. And then it's broken down, and I know what I need to sacrifice for it. And this is also like for everybody that is married, there is a conversation that you guys need to have with a partner. You need to be both invested in this. It is not just your time you're sacrificing. Sexifying, I just said. Okay.
Sexifying.
It's not just your personal time that you're sacrificing, it's your relationship that needs to be strong enough to endure all of the changes that are happening. And I'm not saying do not spend time with your husband. I'm not saying don't check on your friends. I'm just saying that my husband is extremely understanding. When I have to work one day until 1 a.m., I just need to tell him, hey, this is one of those days. That's all I need to do. He's in this with me. At the same time, when he comes and he's like, hey, I'm having a crappy day and I need you today. Or, hey, I've been missing you and I need to spend some time with you. F the work. Like, I don't care. Everything can be on hold, or like, hey, give me 15 minutes. I'm going to get everybody to do my job and then I can go with you. But I'm building sustainability. I'm building systems. I'm building teams. I'm building processes. I'm building the product suite that is going to help grow the business the way that I envision it to grow. This was a very long conversation about what I'm planning on doing, but I think it's important to understand that it's not, the sacrifices will need to happen if you're trying to build something big. And it's up to you to decide how small that sacrifice is or how big.
And
is it your money? Is it your time?
Yeah.
Is it your relationship? Because you can pay somebody to take care of your social media creating, and you don't have to, invest as much time into that. You're buying out your time. But it's still a sacrifice of something.
Yep. There's a lot of this that people don't talk about. And to your point earlier of how, especially on TikTok, Instagram, people are over glorifying the entrepreneur lifestyle and making it look so luxurious and so attractive. But this is the shit people have to make decisions on. And so for you, because, and I'm of the philosophy, if my client wants to make $1,000 a month to contribute to their life and their family, I'm here for it. If my client wants to make $1 million in sales this year, I'm here for it. I could give two shits what you want to do and how much you want to make. I'm here to help you, like you said, capitalize on what your choices are and the time that you have. My question to you is, what does that actually look like for you? Like, as a mom, as a wife and a daughter or a sister or whatever, like, I mean, you had a kid, and I think there's so many different like feelings or philosophies of like spending more time with your kids and being home or being a stay-at-home mom or being for me, I will probably never go back to a regular job, in my opinion. but I also don't want to be a complete stay-at-home mom. I will be a work-at-home mom. And I can see myself in the future when we have kids battling with guilt and all those things. I know to your point about the your husband and spouse or significant other relationships, we had to have very intentional conversations of, several years ago of like, hey, this is where I think this is going and this is what I want to do. How do you feel about that? Where can we come to an understanding? And you do have to have a partner that is down for that, right? So what does that actually look like for you?
So it took me a long while. I'm not gonna say that, like, with all the like decade of experience in consulting, when it came to my business, it was a struggle, especially with the pregnancy, because at that
Mm.
time I did not have a solid team. I just had like one or two people with me, and my agency, Ivy Entertains, has been very aggressively growing at that period of time. So there was, and I had a problem. Like, I was a control freak. I didn't want to lose control over my business. Didn't want to delegate or give more information that I had to. It was a scary period of time because you're thinking like, oh my god, I'm losing this thing. So it took me a lot of work with my own self to come to terms. um there was a period of time when I literally, I have photos of that, I will send it to you, but I was I was in labor at the hospital, in my phone, having a conference with my client in Singapore. It was terrible, but it was very eye-opening. That's when things changed, because I needed to be at that place where, like, you really need the break, but
Yeah.
you can't have it. You know what I mean? So the moment that that happened, as soon as I had my baby, I started hiring. We had a lot of changes last year. Like, 2019 December, we were like a team of three. At the end of 2020, no, yeah, at the end of 2021, we were like a team of 13, I think. So it was within a span of a year, from 2020 to 2021, we grew from 3 to 13, because I realized that I needed to invest more into freeing up my time to be able to not only to focus on my kid, but also to focus on the business and give the business the justice that it deserves. Because I was having like delays in communication. There is a lot that, and the problem of like this belief that like you're losing control can affect your business and it can break it in a second. And I see a lot of entrepreneurs have it, especially the people that are like businesses of one. They built something on their own and now it's time to scale it, and they're scared to give the power to somebody else. What if they take my idea? What if they take my client? What if they don't do their job the right way? This is still my name on the line and things like that. So um, that was what I went through. But I was miserable for like a period of like 2 months when I was trying to find key people in my
And
business.
this was right after like postpartum.
No, this was
Oh,
actually last year,
okay.
January,
Okay. Because I
February.
was thinking if all that was happening postpartum, like how
No,
did you
I had a
survive?
great pregnancy. I
Oh,
had an
that's
amazing
so good.
pregnancy. I had a great delivery, although I
Oh my
delivered
gosh.
like almost 2 weeks late. But I had everything was great. My daughter slept through the night. I had to
Holy
wake her
shit.
up to be able to feed her. Like,
You're
for
so
me, I
lucky.
had it all. Like, she was all in it. And I also taught myself that we live in this, we're past the gray suits in high heels, closed doors, whisper behind our backs. Like, we're past that. There's a new era of entrepreneurship that is coming, with women normalizing being human and being in business at the same time. When you realize that the amount of work that I do per day, that's when my guilt was like, I'm not guilty. What do you mean I'm guilty? make sure that I have enough time with my daughter. My daughter is a part of I don't know if we ever had a call together, but she jumps here. She sits right on my desk and she has a conversation with people. She has her own thing of like writing on my stuff. She has her own toys. She has her own things that is right here. You don't see it, but it's right here.
Yeah, yeah.
Where she just does that. She was a part of so many conversations. I even breastfed on a
Oh yeah. I've
negotiation
had
deal.
clients do that. Yeah, yeah.
At a negotiation with a huge client that I'm still very upset that we didn't land, but that's all right. We had a call and she just ran and took my boob out and like, ta-da! And I was like, I was so frazzled because that was my first time, and I was like, I'm so sorry, I'm gonna like turn my video off or whatever. They were like, you're fine.
Yeah.
The world is
Especially if
fine.
it's other women too.
Yeah.
Like
And
I
I think
don't
with us
care.
coming to this place, with us
Yeah.
coming to business, we're showing what we want. We're
Yeah.
building this new era of entrepreneurship,
Yeah.
and we dictate the rules.
Yeah.
So no guilt
No.
for me. Thank you very much.
It makes me think of, have you seen the new LinkedIn commercials?
No.
LinkedIn is really stepping up their game with commercials because, especially with all that's happened the last couple of years, they're in this commercial, it's showing like a mom with her kid and they're just like in like really casual clothes at home on a call or on an interview, or, you know, a stay-at-home dad, like very non-traditional things you don't see portrayed. And it gave me like goosebumps. I was like, yeah, this is what we need to see.
I think also it's very important to know what your mission is. My whole point of starting MB&Co specifically was to, it's first and foremost, it's a dedication to my mom. She's a single mom, so this whole business is for her. But it's also like, it was specifically for me to empower women, because the reason behind this whole I want to empower women is because I want to build a world where my daughter can see different women achieving different things and they're content with that and they're happy with that life, and she will learn from them. I'm not building your business. I'm building her world. That's what pushes me. So when we talk about like, do I feel, as you said, like, you think you're going to feel guilty, you will not. If your mission is somehow connected to what your kid's world is going to become, you will never feel guilty because you're building it for them. And I still have, like, every single night, I'm the person who puts her to bed. That's my time with her. Every single morning before 9 a.m., it's still my time with her. We still take her out. We still, it's not like I'm neglecting my relationship with my baby. I'm
That's what I want
integrating
people to
her
hear.
into the business.
And I think, let's put it in perspective. If we were, or let's just say, if you were a working mom that went to an office, 9 to 5, still very similar,
Yeah.
And plus, when she goes to school to start kindergarten, she's not going to be with you 8 hours a day anyway. So I think there's this weird thing that if you are a woman that has a child that works from home, I'm just playing devil's advocate here. Some people see, oh, you get to work from home. You should have, don't you have all the time in the world? Uh-oh, she's making a face, y'all. Don't you have all the time in the world? Right? Or even if you don't have kids, people are like, oh, you get to work from home. You get to, well, if I was working a corporate work from home job, yeah, maybe lots of flexibility. But when you are working from home and you're a business owner, the reality is, and I'm being very honest here, and I talk a lot about finding margin in your life, but the reality is your brain is almost 24/7 working on your business. So and I've had this thing the last few weeks where, first of all, I'm turning 30 this year and physical ailments are approaching me. I threw out anyway, I've had a back spasm and I'm currently in physical therapy for my back. It's so ridiculous.
Oh
I'm
my
not even
God.
30. Anyway, and so a couple weeks ago, it was really bad. And so in the middle of the night, I was kind of uncomfortable. I was like rolling over. And then my allergies have been so bad and I'm sneezing. And I'm like, I can't go back to sleep. And it's almost like when my brain shuts down during sleep and I wake back up, it's processed all of this other stuff. And then all of these other creative ideas, things come out, and I'm just on my phone writing notes on notes on notes. So that is the reality of a business owner, an entrepreneur of any kind. If you are trying to build something for long term, make a living, and build some kind of big, small, whatever wealth with your business and with your family and life, it's kind of nonstop.
Well, hear me out though. I think this kind of ties up to choose your own path conversation. I have people that are making enough and that's all they want to make. And
Absolutely.
they don't have the problem of thinking about their business 24/7 because they are in a place where they're content, that they're comfortable. I have people that are looking in their business as a side gig. I have people who are looking at their side business as like, this is going to change my life. I have people like me who are like, I am going to put the next 10 years of my life is for me to hustle, 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 hustle. And then I'm going to be building, and then I'm going to be reaping the fruits of my labor. Every person has a different way of approaching to business. My ideal way of doing business or treating my business is not yours. I have a client that not only she does not think about her business 24/7, as she should be, by the way. but but she's also like, she's more, she wants big things, but she is more like, but let's take it slow, we'll
And that's
get there.
fine.
And that's great. And I think my vision of entrepreneurship and theirs is not the same.
That's fine.
But the only thing that I'm going to say is, wherever you go, whichever type of business that you're building, there are a few things that need to happen. First and foremost, you need a plan. Just getting popular with reels and starting a business, it's a fluke.
Yeah.
It can work
It's
for
not going to
3 years
last.
and then it's going to go. You still need to have a plan where you're taking this whole thing. Second, the plan isn't enough. You need to show up and execute it. I have been posting about this the whole last week because I had a similar issue where you work very hard and you come up with this amazing business plan that serves every single point of what she had in mind. And then you're sitting there expecting, like, now the plan is coming to work. And then she says, oh, screw the plan. I'm going to go and copy Amanda's style. I'm going to go and copy Amanda's product suite. No, no. Anyways. And,
Ooh.
and then the third, that I think that, you have the plan, you show up and you do the plan. There is a lot of work on mindset that needs to happen, which is, understanding what is setting you back on achieving different things, including this whole, Amanda, let's copy Amanda stuff kind of thing. And then with the mindset, if everything is in place, the continuous education is the fourth one. Because you can hire me today, and what I'm teaching you today can be quite different from what I'm going to teach you a year later, because I grow and I let you grow, because the world is evolving, especially right now. Like, we had, like, changes would happen every decade. Now they're happening every hour. And we are all in this kind of let's run and get it mode. And I think that with this, I think women, especially, like, it's very important. It's crucial to make sure that you're investing in your education. Just the fact that you went from a teacher to a business owner right now, that doesn't mean that that's the highest potential that you have. Tomorrow, in a month, in 3 years, the information that you're giving to your clients right now, or the information that you're operating based on, like when you're providing a service or whatnot, is going to be outdated.
And yeah, it's like science. Science, people do research all the time, 24/7, so that they can share their new findings so that we can improve our lives and change. And those things are ever changing. Just like I use this as an example because my husband and I talk about this all the time. Back in, and I'm not quoting these studies correctly, but back in the 40s, 50s, 60s, they did all these studies about saturated fat and blah, blah, blah. And everybody, it was the fad thing to just go low fat in your diet. Well, a lot of those low fat products had other additive shit of sugar or random chemicals that ended up building fat in your body. And so there are good fats that we need, and there are like bad vegetable oils and canola oil and all of that other garbage and processed carbohydrates that now we have new information. So people now saying like, oh, steak is bad for you, or avocados have too much fat. Well, screw that. That's not that information is old information, right? So anyway, I love that. Okay. As sometimes when I'm interviewing.
Okay, give me a second. I'm gonna
okay, give me a second. Sometimes when I'm interviewing someone, I have next thoughts and I write it down. I think sometimes, number one, we can be building our business, like you were saying, of someone like copying someone or working so hard with old information. It's like we're on an elliptical machine and like you're working a sweat up, you're getting your heart rate up, but like distance wise, you ain't going nowhere. Like you are staying stationary. And that's kind of what I picture. But second thing I was thinking about is I see and I have experienced, and kind of right now I'm playing with this, to scale our businesses. I think there is a lack of information in the public space unless you're paying big bucks for some coach or some mastermind or whatever, of how to actually scale without killing yourself, or scale to where you want to go, first of all. And people go in this cycle of, okay, I need to do XYZ to increase my services, get more clients, sell more digital products, whatever, or sell physical products if that's your thing. So I need to outsource more, which means spending more money. Then they put more time into it and maybe get a little farther, and they're still spending a hefty amount on their outsourcing. And then it doesn't really go like they want. So what was your experience when you were ready to outsource? Because not everybody has the experience of, wow, I have way too many clients. I can't take on everyone. I need to hire more people. And then you hire more people and you can take on more clients, and then your profit margins keep increasing. Not everybody has that luxury, right? They're still trying to, like, maybe things have been up and down because of COVID. That's definitely a huge thing in our, especially the online space. What would you say? What was your experience? Because it's risky to be like, okay, I'm going to hire this next person for $800 a month or $2,000 a month or whatever. And then that's money you don't get to pocket or save or things like that.
All right. So every person would have a different thing. I want to say first, before getting into anything, that as I said, like, there is no one size fits all.
Yeah.
What works for Amanda does not work for me.
Yeah.
What works for, that's very important to acknowledge. We're not building the same businesses.
Right.
I think, to your point, there is a lack of information, but not only lack of information around scaling, but lack of information, period, that would be tailored to people.
Yes.
rather than because you can blah, blah, blah. You can sorry that happens to me a lot, but
It's
like
okay.
you can teach people soft skill, you can teach people information, you can give people education, but you can't unless you're in a space of like consulting them on their one-to-one on their own thing, knowing all the details and doing your own research and everything else. You cannot give a personalized attention to a business. You cannot give them advice that is based on their situation. You know what I mean? Like you can teach people like, this is how you do your business expenses, but it's still as a tax accountant, you go and say, Amanda, for the type of business that you have, these are the deductions that you can take. So it's very important to know that there is this like a lack of personalization with so many businesses trying to scale. They go into courses, they go into group programs because that's how they are able to kind of like scale from working one-on-one into the group kind of
One to
situation,
many.
and what's from one to many, and being able to spend the same amount of time but earn more money for the time that they're spending.
Right.
Good for them. But I think there has to be also an accountability. This is a completely different topic, but I will say this now. But there has to be an accountability for those people who are doing a group program to promote it in a way that people understand that none of that information is actually tailored to them. It is, I don't want to say general information, but it's a generic information. It's not something you can find maybe on like Google when you're searching for it. It still comes from the experience. It still comes from like knowing
Specialty. Yeah.
more of the industry, but it's still not for you. It's for
Unless
all of you.
you're in the group program and you also have one-on-one
Component
support
to it.
with that
Absolutely.
person, taking the information, applying it tailored to the individual. They're a photographer. This is how all these things could work. Let's try these, whatever.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
So the scaling part, you need to understand first and foremost how you can scale it and what products or services are within your vision for your brand. Going into group coaching or going into a course, going into a template, going into a digital product is not the only solution out there. There are millions of things that you can do. So, first and foremost, assessing what really fits the vision, the bigger vision that you have for your brand. That's going to be the first point. And then I will go back again to the same thing. Plan is what you need to have. You don't go into it blind because you just want that. You need to understand what your return on investment is. And when I say your return on investment, it does not have to be money. It can be the time. It can be the peace of mind. I did not outsource anything. I hired people in the team. That's how I built mine because I know that I will not find a person that is 100% perfect for the job,
Mm-hmm.
because the way that I work is not the way that they have been used to working with other people.
So talk about what you mean. You said you didn't outsource, but you hired in the team. Tell us what you mean by that.
So I did not give a social media manager that has multiple clients. I did not hire a social media manager to do
There
my
we go.
social media.
There we go.
I hired a social media manager to work inside of my organization as a team member, part-time, full-time, depending. But it's not, so there's a outsource, meaning that person is not a part of your team. They just provide a service. In-house is when you have somebody that is a part of your general team. So when we have team meetings, we have everybody on board. When we're planning our next year, we have the whole team together. When we're working on, okay, our client came up with X, Y, and Z, all the people are involved in that conversation. So I think that that's another thing that you need to understand, because with having people in-house, there is a bigger, for me, the reason why I decided to go that route, I'll just go there, is that there is nobody that is 100% perfect for me. Nobody.
Right.
I need to give you how to work with me. I need to teach you and mold you into the place where I will be more comfortable letting go.
Yeah.
I have learned it. I understand it. That might not be the perfect solution, but that's just where we're at. Okay. So for me, if I'm investing so much time and effort into teaching, into building, into adjusting, into making sure that you and I work together and we stick together the way that we do, I want the loyalty that comes with it. I want to know that tomorrow your price doesn't change because you are,
Right.
because you just decided. I want to know, and not, don't get me wrong, we have like 6 months, every 6 months we have evaluations. We do change some things. It's not like
Sure.
we're stagnant on the same price, but the price isn't, you're not on an hourly rate. You are
Right.
not on a like, well, if she asks me to do this, you're a part of the team. The only thing that I have outsourced so far within my business has been, I have an OBM that I absolutely adore, and she has a tech person with her. But even my OBM, I had a long, long conversation. I've had her for a year now. We're celebrating a year anniversary this month. And with her, she knows we're not going anywhere. We're not like, this is not a short-term solution. This is not anything. We will build upon each other, but I'm staying.
Yeah.
We had that conversation of like, listen, if you're planning on scaling your business to the place where you cannot afford working with me at this capacity, please let me know.
Let's
Because
have
I
that
don't want to be
conversation.
investing in something because I really want to have that. Um, oh, this is a long thing. Oh my God.
No,
Okay.
keep going.
The hiring part, because it's super important, being able to onboard people and teach them your ways. When you worked as a teacher, you had specific hours of operation, you have specific things that were happening, so you're taught doing things a little bit differently. Let's say you and I work together. I have a thing, I don't care what time it is, I will be messaging you. Now granted, I don't expect you to be messaging me back in midnight, but I want you to be comfortable knowing that I might be messaging you at night. You know what I mean? In a traditional 9 to 5, you don't expect your boss to be messaging you at midnight. Like, what the hell?
But they would.
Would they? Girl, not in my country. Try to message a woman at midnight and you're her boss. Oh,
We can
right.
definitely talk about that later.
But there are things that the way that I do work is just different. I curse. Some people don't. I like to, like, the first thing that I do on any of the interviews, this is a team of creatives. This is a team of crazy people. And I'm the craziest one of them. I can be loud. I can be cursing. I will hate on our clients sometimes when I'm annoyed with something. I need to make sure that confidentiality is super important for me. I need you to know that I'm going to invest a lot of work and effort into building you the way that I think we should be going. I don't mind investing in your education, even though some of my people are contractors and they're not employees. They still get benefits with working with my organization. We get courses for them. We get additional this year in December, I don't know where it was. We did a thing. It's called, oh God, Strengths and Leadership.
Oh yeah, Clifton. Yeah.
Yes. So we did this whole Strengths Finder
Yes, I think that's
thingy
great.
for the whole team. Then we had a discussion, understanding what do we bring to the table and how to work with us effectively. So I'm building a team. That's where I went. I think the return on investment for me is not only the peace of mind, where I can go on a cruise with my husband for a week and not even check any messages, and I know things are going smoothly now. But it took me forever to get here, okay?
Sure.
But not only that is happening, but I also know that the work ethics, the way that people show up for each other, the way that they can work together. But not only the return on investment is the time, the return on investment is the final vision. It contributes to what I'm building. This people, I have Whitney, you know Whitney. Everybody, please go say hi to Whitney if you hear this one time or the other. Her email address is whitney@iventertains.com. Please tell her, hi, Whitney. We love you all.
Oh, Lord.
But I got Whitney when she was still in school. She was looking for an internship. She wasn't looking for a job at all. She was trying to find something for free to go and do internship with someone. I made an offer. I said, I'm not going to have you as an intern. I'm going to have you as my EA. This means we're a tandem. If you have plans that in a year you're going to leave me, fuck you. That's not going to happen. We're going to be working together. And she was like, I can come with you. Like, I'm on the road with you. Right now, this girl not only is being developed, she's not going to be my EA. That's not the vision for her.
Yeah. I love that.
Team development is important for scaling in general. Let's say first on identifying where you're scaling so that it can fit the overall business goals and the strategy that you have behind it. Second would be identifying the team members and hiring very rigorously. Keep in mind, you're going to fail at least 3 times before you get it right. It's fine. People screw up. Shit happens. Move forward. You're fine. And then third is going to be pouring into your people and making sure you're developing them. Again, look at the vision. Where do they fit in the long term? And then I think the return on investment, understanding what the return on your investment is, be that the peace of mind, be that the time, be that the knowledge that they're bringing that you don't have. Because, you
don't know everything.
You might have had a few reels that are taken off, but if you hire a social media manager with the right skill set, they might know a thing or two more than you do.
Yeah, okay. I want them to.
Thank you very much. Exactly. I want them to.
I do.
Because that's another thing about me and being a control freak, but we'll talk about that later. But if you have all those components in place, the rest is okay because you know if you're paying $1,000, what are you getting back for that? Are you getting back, if you're getting back both their knowledge and your free time and option to build a better team for the moving forward, and it fits within your budget and your plan for your annual plan, you're good. You're solid. And even then, though, sometimes we need to take risks. If you're building something, things happen.
Yeah. If people
I can talk like forever about business. So please, if you feel like I'm going overboard, please interrupt me because I can talk about this like for hours and hours and hours. And then you're going to be like, oh my God, you took all my time.
No, this is the point of this episode. And as a podcaster and interviewer, I want to listen more than I'm talking. So I'm good. We will wrap up when we need to wrap up. But my next question is, so I love these tangible examples. Okay, if you're paying $1,000 a month, what are you getting? I think the entrepreneur space right now is the only option people see is to just hire other contractors, other people that have their own business and have their own clients. And they're like, where do I find someone I can pay a rate that I'm comfortable with, or a monthly part-time, number that I have budgeted for, or that I think is appropriate for the position. I think people are like, do I just go post in a Facebook group? Do I put my job on LinkedIn? Do I put it on,
it depends on the position you're hiring. Yeah. If you're hiring anything, social media or whatnot, like people that you would see a lot of them being on Facebook groups, sure. But don't go into VA groups, please, because it's a nightmare over there.
You will get bombed with so many people.
Especially if you're looking for an admin or social media management. Every person who has ever used Canva thinks that they can do social media. So
yeah.
Don't try that. But if you're hiring somebody it depends what industry you're in as well.
Sure.
If you're in a social media, like it's very important for you to know that people that are with you know the type of business that you're in. For most of my businesses, I would hire LinkedIn. I would go to, I would post on Indeed and I would ask
Yeah.
for referrals. That's going to be my main thing. Ask for referrals. Who have you worked with before? That I can look into it. And I know that it is more investment to hire somebody in house. And it's also more responsibility that comes with it because you can't just be paying them like, oh, just do 4 hours today. Like, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
There is a responsibility of making a certain amount to be able to accommodate that. I think it's just a lot of details that go into it.
Yeah.
The plan that you need to come up with needs to have your financial stability, understanding how much you can actually afford to lose per month, because there might be a learning curve. There might be a time when you're investing more than you're getting back in terms of finances. How much of that can you afford to do?
Yeah.
Um, there were months when we still were great, but we were like the profit that I was getting, excluding my salary, but like the business profit that we were getting wasn't as high as we usually had. Right now, we're paying almost $20,000 in the overhead for people, and it some of them contractors, some of them not, some of them part-time, some of them full-time, but it's a lot of money that you need to come up with. And I wouldn't recommend anybody doing it unless you have proof that your business is doing well enough that you can make sure that this happens regularly every single month, no questions asked.
Yeah. Yeah. I would agree. I mean,
Or you're ready to lose the money.
or that.
Because it can be a time when I had that. I
Mm-hmm.
hired my first VA 4 years ago when I was scrambling because I didn't have time. And I
Yeah.
hired somebody to do like a copy pasting thing for me. She's still with me, by the way. And it wasn't as expensive because it was a few $100s because she's in Philippines. It wasn't really as expensive because the work wasn't
High
uh,
level.
high level. Um, but that and sometimes it would happen that instead of me taking home $1,000, I would take home $500, and
Yeah.
like she would get half of what I was making at that time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I
That's
still
the
have to pay
that's
all
the real
everything else.
stuff that people, and this is kind of maybe one of the last things we can talk about is, again, the glorification of entrepreneurism and people like the most toxic shit that's been going around the last couple of years of like 6-figure business owner, 7-figure business owner, 10K months and blah 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 blah. Or I had a $50,000 cash month, and it's like, fuck you, no one cares. I want to know, what are you spending? What does your life look like? What does your time look like? And does that align with me? I don't want to be sold to by you telling me how much money you make, because that doesn't work anymore. That's one of those things that we've seen, that people used really fancy or sleazy marketing or paid ads, pulled in a shit ton of people, did not deliver on the product, and did not help people. Like you said, some group programs not customized to the person. They saw a little bit of growth, and then now they're still stuck. And some of those people are coming to me or you or whoever and being like, hey, I already invested in this coach, last year, 2 years ago, and I'm shit out of luck. And so I know. So, I mean, we don't have to go down the drama of that road. We can. I'm here for it. But for you, and I'm going to assume, so correct me if I'm wrong. You don't have to spill the tea on like your financial report from the last year, but I'm assuming you are, and your goal is, if you haven't already hit it, is like $1 million or more in annual revenue, something to that effect. That is and again, that's very different than what other people want to achieve. Totally fine. but I think when people see people marketing with like, yeah, I made $400,000 last year, they hear, oh my God, they have $400,000 in their bank account. Fuck no. No, they don't. They may have paid themselves a fourth or a tenth of that. Like, you have no idea.
Yeah.
You know,
There's a
when
lot that goes into the financing. I think that people sometimes mix the idea of revenue versus net income, and that's
yes,
the part of not having decent business education and just stumbling upon entrepreneurship. That's what happens when people, and there is no shame in that. Like a lot of people, you don't have to have like a business degree to be able to get
no,
into that, but
but
if I can do the work and learn,
you
okay.
need foundations, you need some business 101 stuff.
Exactly. Where you understand what your expenses are, what your margins are. Is it even worth it for you? Because you can have a client that pays you $10,000 and then you spend the whole $9,880 on other stuff that you don't have to, you know what I mean? Like
Yep.
it's very important to know your finances and also understand the difference between verbiage that is used around entrepreneurship and business. I just kind of like came to my mind. I'm going to create like a glossary for entrepreneurs one day. Like it just like, ta-da. Okay. But, what I would say is that I own one 5-figure business, two 6-figure businesses, and one 7-figure business. I am extremely proud of myself. And if in any conversation, if I can just say that I'm a 7-figure entrepreneur, I will absolutely do, because I built this shit from
And you're
scratch
proud of
within
it.
4 years, and fuck everybody. Like this is the proud moment for me. I need the celebration. Okay, because people in my and I want this also to like come across that like in my country people don't make that kind of money.
Yeah.
Now granted, the money that we make there gives us much better
Goes
lifestyle.
farther.
Yeah, but those numbers aren't in place, so it's a big deal for me. It's a big deal for me. It's a big deal for my family. It's a big deal for my grandparents, and
Yeah.
that's what it meant. So if I can mention it, I will. No, you are not going to build that. No, this didn't happen overnight. This didn't happen because this happened through, as I said, millions of sacrifices, conversations with my husband, missed dinners and late nights and all that stuff, and working while I was in labor. So would I change it? Absolutely not, because it still builds the future for my business and for my family that I envision. So no. But anyways, now when it comes to talking about finances in this 7-figure business thing,
Yeah.
um, I want to make sure that okay, I got sidetracked. I'm going to need your help. Can
Yes.
you
So I just want to get to, and you don't have to tell us, you're like, how
my
much
mother's
money do
name?
you take home? But
Oh,
I think people need to see some reality of, because a lot of times we hear the studies too of like, oh, business owners don't make a profit for the first X dollar, X years, which can happen also isn't always true.
this is a long thing about this, but I will just say this. I get paid in two different ways from my businesses. One is I get paid a flat salary for the position of the CEO and the business strategist in MB&Co that I'm taking over. So I get paid a flat fee as a salary that is being taxed, that is like a W-2 and everything
Yep. Yep.
else. And then sometimes when I need to, I would take distributions out of my bank account.
Yep.
I think it has to be, for me personally, I have found that the separation between my business and personal expenses and business and personal income has been revolutionary for me,
Hmm.
because my business made I would say almost like 500,000, like not including contract fees, like 500,000. From that, I got my salary, and the rest of it stayed in my business. It's not my income. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not taking it home. I'm keeping it in my business because my business needs that money to invest. Everything, there is a separation between Ivy Entertains and Monte Bailey Sarkson. Like, I'm a different person and my business is a different like organization. So yes, we did make, I think Ivy did like 1.4 million maybe in revenue, I think, last year. And with that, we had 400-ish. From that, I took my salary.
Yep.
The rest of it stayed in my business.
Yeah.
To help build moving forward. Just in December, I committed $20,000 in different services. I hired a coach that I really wanted to. I am doing a whole big rebrand, which is going to require money, a lot of money. And I don't want to be in a place where I am, if I made the money, I'm just going to keep it in there. Why not? And it's not just the only thing. There's like more stuff that goes into it. That's also the taxing issues that
Yeah.
like I highly recommend everybody to go and talk to a CPA or a tax accountant, no matter what kind of business you're in.
Yes.
Um, but like I realized that if I just keep my money in my bank account for my business, I don't have to pay as much taxes as I would pay if I took it out. So I'm not taking it out.
Yeah. Okay. I really appreciate you being so honest about that, because I think that's what people, and you guys also, if you're listening, Mane's business, she has business in multiple countries. She's not just doing business in the US. So think about that, first of all. Also, she has multiple businesses. So, and again, what we said earlier, if you're thinking right now, wow, she makes so much money, I could never do that. Well, is that your goal? If that's your goal, yeah, you can. But also, if that's not your goal, don't compare yourself to this that we're talking about here.
I know financials of a business coach that I'm not going to name names, but she is making well over 7 figures with her coaching practice. And she's spending at least 400,000 a year in her ads alone.
Oh, see, this is what I'm talking about. Shouldn't we
And
not have to do that?
not really. Like it depends.
I mean, you can
If
run ads. I think it's great. Like, do it, whatever. But
I'm like some of my businesses will be running ads in a few months. That's like kind of like a planned thing. It's easier for me to pay. And again, look at it as like a return on investment. For me, I'm investing the money for the ad to do the job so that the team members that I have don't have to be multiplied in their outreach. So I'm talking about, for example, we work with live streamers. We provide different apps and platforms with live streamers that perform over there or create content or just go there and talk. So we need a lot of them, and we need a lot of them constantly. We have certain targets that we want to hit with some of our clients. We need to bring like 10 to 15 people a month there, 20 to people over there, and 30 people over here. So it's just a lot of recruitment process that is happening, right? So instead of me hiring 2 more recruiters that would go and start messaging directly, one-on-one, Amanda, would you like to do this? Would you like to do this? Would you like to do this? I have an ad that is doing that job for me
you.
for less of the price of that.
Yep.
I think that when you're starting to run ads, and I have a lot of friends that are proficient in ads, I have absolutely no idea about ads, like bare minimum as much as I need to. But the way that I look at that is that if you are running ads, you have to have the systems behind it. It needs to tie into your business plan in general. And some people are very comfortable with that. Like if you have like 1.4 million in revenue, but 400,000 of that goes into ads, it's still a $1 million afterwards. So is it worth it? Absolutely, it's worth it. What it isn't worth if that's the only way that your business can operate. So I think the progression and evolution of business going from day 1, let me create an Instagram account, and to day 2, let me spend 400,000 in ads and have 1 million business. It's just it's unrealistic to expect that to happen. And you wouldn't have the crucial steps to solidify your offer and to give social proof to your offer and make sure that your business can handle the traffic that is coming in. It's not just the traffic. Can you imagine if right now you had 400 people apply to work with you in a day?
Yeah.
Can
Oh,
you handle that emails? No. Can
no.
your operations handle that? No. Can
Yeah.
your time handle that? No.
Yeah.
So putting the systems in processes and proven framework and proven product or a proven system, whatever it is that you're selling, having all of that in place before you start running ads. That's where the good part is.
Yeah. Okay.
Dude, I'm telling you, you can ask me questions. I can talk like
I
forever.
love it. Well, this was probably one of my favorite conversations that we've had on this show to date. Because, and this is why I wanted to specifically have a conversation with you, because I've known you for a while. We've worked together. I've seen what you're doing, and people just need to know behind the scenes. Of course, we're not going to you do not have to spill the tea on everything and tell us all your life details, but these examples are very important to people. So thank you for sharing.
Absolutely.
How can people connect with you? Instagram, Facebook, website, whatever.
Okay, so if you want to talk to me and me only, go to Ask Mane Bailey on Instagram or manebailey.com on, whatever. If you want to reach out to any of my agencies, go to Ivy Entertains or Allen 5. Those are the
Yeah.
two that I
And those
can
are
talk.
linked in your Instagram
Those are linked in
profile.
my Instagram and everything else. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're a woman and you are in a position, and this is like a whole thing that is coming to be a part of my business, but if you're a woman that is struggling, like a single mom struggling, you don't know where to go with this, and you really need help, please DM me. We do have a charitable component to the business that is starting in 20 days, in 16 days,
Amazing.
on my birthday, that we will be helping a lot of women who are either in the career or are in like trying to find an additional side gig or an income source or anything else for their business, or people who have business that do not have the money to invest hiring me one-on-one. We do have some like spots per month that we will be contributing to, like doing things pro bono. Because what I realized while I was working on the rebrand is that, as I was telling you before, we sometimes focus on what serves us and our business and blah, 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 blah. We tend to forget what the mission is.
Yeah.
So the mission is to help women. The mission has always been a dedication to my mom. So I want to pay it forward.
Awesome.
So if you need anything, please let me know. I'm always open. I'm very happy to help.
Well, and we'll link that in the show notes for sure. Mane, thank you for your time. This was so kick-ass. And thank you guys for listening. Go rate us on Spotify, on iTunes, subscribe to the show, share it with a friend, and we will see you guys next time.
Thank you so much.